Welcome, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to the news at 19:30. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: the UPND threatens violence against anyone who will insult President Hakainde Hichilema. DP President Harry KALABA to report President HH to the international community. Heavy rains cause devastation in MONZE district. In international news, UN launches appeal to avoid humanitarian crisis in the Horn of Africa. And in sports news, ASANOVIC gets 4-year CHIPOLOPOLO deal.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello once again, another news in detail. A development analyst has observed with concern that the prevailing high cost of living will further widen income inequalities amidst stagnant wages and limited social protection mechanisms in the country. The cost of living for a family of 5, as measured by the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection JCTR Basic Needs and Nutrition Basket BNB for November 2021 stood at over 8,000 kwacha, which is 123 kwacha 44 ngwe decrease from 8,268 kwacha 72 ngwe in October 2021. And Dr. Charity Musamba has noted the need for stakeholders' collaborations on the need to continue to find solutions to social and economic challenges the country is facing. Dr. Musamba explains that there is a link between the cost of living and the escalation of vices such as crime, drug abuse, and family breakdowns, among others.
Living in bad economic and financial situations. So there is a very urgent need for government to bring together experts to find ways of minimizing the repercussions and consequences of the high cost of living in Zambia. And if you look at the social outcomes of this situation, definitely you see a lot of social problems coming up. Issues of crime, issues of youth delinquency, issues of families breaking down. All these, we've gone through this in the 1990s and early 1990s, where the high cost of living translated into social and to some extent political breakdown. What moved UNIC out of power was that people began to see difficulties in making their ends meet. And we're talking about the high cost of living in a country where unemployment is rising. Young people are sitting along the streets waiting for jobs that we cannot see. So there is need to seriously bring the country together and working together, come up with immediate, medium and long-term solutions to the cost of living. And I'm reading through reports. Zambia seems to have a peculiar problem with the high cost of living. There are countries that, neighboring countries, that will give us evidence that they could be facing high cost of prices, but especially when it comes to issues of food, issues of health, issues of education, they seem to be doing much better than us. So for us, I think it's an issue of policy and the political approach to development.
The aged in Chombela village of Katuba constituency have appealed to the government to improve their welfare by incorporating them into the social cash transfer scheme. In the 2022 national budget, the government has set aside 6.2 billion kwacha towards social protection interventions. The social cash transfer program has also been scaled up by increasing the number of beneficiaries and the transfer value. A senior citizen aged 101 is concerned that she has never been part of the beneficiary list despite applying several times. More in this report.
The social cash transfer scheme has been a very useful program to safeguard the plight of underprivileged citizens in the country. Under the Patriotic Front PF administration, The scheme was not without challenges, and the most common ones being the untimely and unpredictable payments, as these beneficiaries would attest in a situation where they could not redeem their money without any proper explanation from authorities.
Zabwera 16 niende pabuthi atia izachita expired zabwereramu kuri wamene wanatuma futi apa 800 yenze yabwera 24 hours futi atia yabwereramu manje sitizi wavochita atendani kusoso ofea tabwera kusoso ofea atia endani kunyumba bazatuma na 16 ndiye mwamene wanachitira manje kaya.
Taking over from the PF, the United Party for National Development UPND administration acknowledges that the scheme was characterized by high administration costs, delayed payments, and misappropriation, but Finance Minister Stumbeko Msokotwane has assured to address these challenges. According to the 2022 national budget, the number of beneficiary households under the program will be increased to over 1 million from 880,539 as of the end of August 2021. The transfer value per household will be increased from 150 kwacha to 200 kwacha per month. For households with severely disabled members, the transfer value will be increased from 300 kwacha to 400 kwacha per month. At the age of 101 years, this woman, based in Chombela village of Katuba constituency in the Central Province, is not on the social cash transfer scheme.
Then abani bambuya ngasala mulea baina 101 manje puti amene ipezeka kwametinkala like in timalima tilima chama tikalima milisi amene talima tikalima kwa yambiri tagulisa tikagulisa nje mame tupeza tundalama tosunga bambuya aba then iya social cash transfer benangu bakola benangu sibakola like kuli bambuya abana balemba inapezeka kuti zina sinachoka.
They say with the prevailing high cost of living, they have been facing numerous problems. Hence, the fund would go a long way to alleviate some of their problems. One can only hope that these ward women will be incorporated into the program to help cushion them. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
A family of Lusaka's Chunga compound has called on the church and well-wishers to step up and help in finding safe homes for children whose mothers have been incarcerated. In an exclusive interview with Camnet News, Enriched Areas Safe Homes Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Charles Mukuka, explains that children need a normal lifestyle and should not be allowed to grow up in correctional facilities. He reveals that his family is currently keeping 18 circumstantial children in their family home, with the oldest being 14 and currently in grade 7 at a local community school, and the youngest being 4 years old. More in this report.
These are not street children who have been rescued, but children whose mothers have been incarcerated and have not been claimed by their relatives. Mr. Charles Mukuka, who is Chief Executive Officer of Enriched Areas Safe Homes, a non-governmental organization, explains that he and his wife, Ms. Mwinga Mukuka, are currently providing food and shelter for 18 circumstantial children in their own home. Ms. Mukuka says children should be allowed to grow up in a conducive home environment and not in a correctional facility. She, however, narrates the challenges of household chores like cooking and washing for a large family, as well as taking care of everyday needs out of their own pocket, as well as the needs of their 3 biological children.
Because we also thought like that environment isn't good. So if we leave children to grow in that environment, we end up nurturing baby criminals who will come at the end of the day, come and attack us as well. So it's important that we help these children, let them be nurtured into people that are going to bring positive change. We raise world changes of tomorrow. These are the leaders of tomorrow. We say, so if we don't nurture them to be good people, they will definitely be bad people, because these, they they learn through observation and they learn through the environment that surrounds them. If they live in a hostile environment, it means they'll equally be hostile.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mukuka explains that the children attend a local community school in Chunga compound, with the oldest being a 14-year-old boy in grade 7 and the youngest a 4-year-old girl. He says the family is dependent on handouts from well-wishers who want to support the children.
Maybe the sister will be willing to get a child, and then the husband will say, I have enough of my children. And then you start getting, where is the father of these children? Such types of things. So some relatives are willing. So what we are there for is to make sure that we keep these children, then a bit by bit start counseling the families to say these are our children. Us, this is just an aftercare center where we take care of the children. Then at the end of the day, you come and pick them when you feel like picking up. Then if it means helping them from their families, it is better that way, because these children, they need their families. This is done from our pockets and the pockets of church members where we go to congregate. They help in terms of some finances to pay for the rentals and other utility bills like electricity and other things. So we are really struggling. So we are appealing to funders, we are appealing for supporters locally and abroad, so that at least we can have our own land, and there we can do some farming, we can do some chicken layering there, we can build our own boarding school there, we can build our own infrastructure, the safe home, the clinic, and other facilities that are conducive for the children.
He has, however, implored the church and other stakeholders to step in and rescue circumstantial children from correctional facilities, and for well-wishers to offer financial support to those undertaking this cause. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Several houses in Munungu ward of MONZE urban area in MONZE district have been flooded, leaving residents with no choice but to watch helplessly. During a check by the local authority in the company of the district commissioner, MONZE Town Council Chairperson Powell Muntenguna says the situation has been exacerbated by the lack of a good drainage system in the area. Meanwhile, MONZE District Commissioner Mwanza Malambo has assured the residents that the government will address their plight with the urgency it deserves. More in this report.
Following heavy rains on Tuesday, several houses in Manango Ward, MONZE District, have been left flooded. During a check by the council, District Council Chairperson Powell Muntenguna has attributed the development to the lack of proper drainage system in the area.
But the only challenge that we have is the drainage itself. So what we are going to do immediately, the rain stops raining, we are going to move in as a council to unblock the drainages so that we can have free flow of water from the other side and to the other side of the town. But the most challenging thing which we have discovered, we don't know the engineers that they used as the consultants to do these roads. They didn't do the proper drainages. The drainages that are here, they are very small.
Meanwhile, District Commissioner Mwanza Malambo has assured the residents that the situation will be restored as soon as possible.
This system of drainages is addressed too. So it's the duty of the council to look into it to see that the drainages are worked on so that houses are not submerged in water. Otherwise, we are here to appreciate the situation. As it is raining now, many of these people are in water. All the same, things will be addressed too, as the council chairman said. We appreciate the fact that the people are able to see that it is purely drainages which have caused all this calamity. Otherwise, all the same, things will be well addressed.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, MONZE District.
Market traders operating at Chitemalesa area in Rufunsa district have bemoaned the lack of a market shelter in the area. A check by Camnet News around the area revealed a market foundation which the traders say has remained incomplete for a long time. The traders have since challenged the government to handle the matter of constructing markets all around the country with the urgency it deserves, stating that their business is negatively affected during periods such as the rain season. More in the following report.
Markets play an important role in the economy as they provide a place for selling various commodities, including agriculture produce. In this sense, markets also play a vital role in ensuring food security as people such as farmers have an assured place to sell their produce. The major problem in the country has been the limited number of markets against an ever-growing population of market traders. The International Labour Organization ILO indicates that about 70% of Zambia's employment population is in the informal sector, with majority of these activities being around trading in places like markets. This has led to a deficit in markets, especially in the rural areas of the country. This is the case of Chitemalesa area traders in Rufunza district, who say all they have is the foundation of a market shelter, which was erected during the Patriotic Front administration, but has never been developed.
Pachitemalesa pano tina problem ya market, so apa manje yankali atuwesi tenze na chisheota chinabwa chagwa chisheota so tigulisira chepa mvula. Zona tikira kwa foundation manje kanakanga bakalipoti mangira so atina problem so mvula ikabwera tikanga kugulisa kulibeno wamenti ngapezere ndrama ti so apotantikira vintu so ni problem yamene iliko kuno so tenzo pempako kutitandizira kuti mungatimangireko market.
I'll be 9 years in Chitemalesa, but I've never seen this market being built up. We have been promises, but we want this year at least. The new Don government, they have promised us to give us 25.7 CDF, which means this Rufunza district, including Chitemalesa, this shelter of our mothers and our sisters, they will be able to be in a good shelter.
Mvula ngati yalo kwa business mankala suruka ikulibeko tantikira tibe shelter yotantikira hapo. So timangapezeka staki tibe na voshita. Tikache kunyumba kwembeleza mvula isire ikasira mvula ndipo ntibolo tantika tunatandiza kuti watisirize timangira market yani watiambira hii bakaisiriza manje tuna manje pafupi pamene apa fupi jabe noti patali maningi ya
so tifuna ikuleko che market atimangireko ikulu kaive nangu futi pamabolo tantika mwamene muno so tifuna che market ikuleko.
Meanwhile, Zambia National Marketers Credit Association Zanamaka President Mr. Mupia Kamea has challenged cooperating partners to come on board and help in the construction of markets.
We would like to appeal to some of their cooperating partners to support our government, because government alone cannot do everything at one time. So we hope this works out very quickly, and so that our people are very much well secured. So on the side of Zanamaka, I think the job that we are doing now is to ensure that we reach even in those far-flung areas like Rufunza. We are talking about to ensure that our people, the traders, are facilitated in terms of financing. We need to finance them. They need to access this finance, especially that now we have a government that has even put in place the ministry specifically that will be dealing with finance, which is the small and medium enterprise. He
further says the United Party for National Development, UPND administration, should ensure equal distribution of markets, even in far-flung areas. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Rufunza District.
Democratic Party President Harry KALABA has accused President Hakainde Hichilema's special assistant for politics, Levi Ngoma, of interfering with some of the current misunderstandings in the party. Addressing the media Tuesday, Mr. KALABA says Mr. Ngoma is influencing the Registrar of Society in their decision. The opposition leader has, in this regard, called on Mr. Ngoma to desist from interfering with the DP by siding with the Judith Kabemba faction. Mr. KALABA adds that he will report President Hakainde Hichilema to the international community for allegedly attempting to assault the country's democracy. More in the following report.
In addition to the wrangles that have continued in the Democratic Party, where Harry KALABA and Judith Kalemba-led factions prepare the field candidate on the party ticket to contest the Kawata by-elections on February 3, 2022, Democratic Party President Harry KALABA has accused Special Assistant for Politics Levi Ngoma of influencing the Registrar of Society in decision-making. Mr. KALABA has called on Mr. Ngoma to desist from getting the Registrar of Society to stand for the other camp allegedly claiming to own DP.
Republican President, through his Special Assistant for Politics, Levi Ngoma, has elected to get involved in the activities of the Democratic Party. When the information of the President's involvement in the DP was brought to my attention late last year, I reluctantly called the President and asked him to keep away from the internal activities of other political parties, as that was and is tantamount to abuse of his office as a Republican President. The President categorically denied any involvement or sponsoring anyone to destabilize the DP. It is, however, of great concern that while the President continues to refuse his involvement and sponsoring anyone to destabilize our party, his Special Assistant for Politics has been having meetings with the Registrar of Societies as well as the suspended members of the Democratic Party. As a matter of fact, the same Special Assistant Levi Ngoma had a meeting with those DP renegades.
Mr. KALABA has also challenged the head of state, Hakainde Hichilema, to allow political parties operate independently.
The same Special Assistant has even been having meetings with the staff from the Registrar of Societies to try and influence their decision and get them to favor the other group that is purporting to be the owners of the DP, in clear contravention of the law of the land. Why should the President's assistant go and get consent? Because we are aware and we have sight of a letter which Madam Mende wrote yesterday, confirming, Madam Mende should refuse if she wants us to prove that later, confirming that Precious Ntambu is the legitimate National Secretary. She wrote that letter to the Electoral Commission of Zambia yesterday. Upon the intervention of the President's assistant, that the President doesn't want the DP to participate in the elections, Madam Mende quickly wrote another letter to the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Efforts of getting a comment from both parties accused the Registrar of Society and Mr. Levi Ngoma could not materialize by broadcast time. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The opposition Economic Front, formerly known as Rainbow Party, has challenged government to stop what it terms as persecution for politically exposed persons. In a walk-in interview, a party member of the Central Committee, Sandy Sindazi, notes that the Economic Front is disappointed that the UPND administration has backtracked on many of its promises made to the Zambian people, citing lack of respect of the rule of law. According to the Economic Front, the government is also failing to function properly due to blame games being leveled against the previous administration. The party says government should now work to improve the living standards of the people away from the usual politicking as the party is in power.
The government must uphold the rule of law as promised. It is very disappointing that there is nothing new dawn about the UPND government. The so-called new dawn is really a new dawn of lies. All the promises they made were lies, and instead of apologizing to the Zambian people for the lies, they have continued to fabricate more lies to cover their initial lies. As it turns out, even the rule of law they promised to uphold is actually a lie. They have continued to make arrests without indictments. When they produce these indictments, they are often inappropriate and done in an haphazard manner, and this clearly suggests lack of investigations, pointing to politically motivated persecutions, arrests. They are applying the fight against corruption selectively, basically targeting their perceived political enemies. As such, this new dawn of lies is taking us backwards, using political persecution as a way to silence the opposition. The economic front, under the leadership of Comrade Winter Kavimba, will not stand for this. Countrymen and women, we cannot allow injustices being perpetrated by the UPND government on issues especially to do with the rule of law to continue. And the economic front shall fight for the rights of Zambians in an objective and peaceful manner.
The United Party for National Development, UPND Youth Chairperson Gilbert Liswaniso has warned that the party will beat up any individual who will be found insulting President Hakainde Hichilema. Speaking to the media Tuesday, the UPND youth leader says the youths in the party will not wait to report people who insult the president to the police, but that they will take the law in their own hands. He warns that freedom of expression should not be taken for granted and that people offer criticism with responsibility. More in the following report.
Social media has over the past weeks been awash with videos, posts and write-up targeted at attacking the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema. Others, such as the Patriotic Front chairperson for information Raphael Nakachinda, were unlucky and ended up in police cells for the offense of defamation of the president, which Mr. Nakachinda defended, saying he made reference to an ancient Bemba wisdom. The United Party for National Development, UPND youths, are however not happy with the attacks targeted at the president and have warned that they will take matters in their own hands and beat any person who will personally insult the president.
If you are going to insult Director Hakainde Hichilema, who beat you, I'm not joking here. I don't need even the police to come in. I never depend on the police when in opposition. We depend on our own. Yes. You attack Hakainde Director as an individual, come to Director as an individual. Just attack the government, attack UPND, attack Hakainde as the president. But if you go as an individual, I'm telling you, you won't even walk freely in the sack, wherever you are going. And you stop it. I've said, time of taking people to the police, not now, because of defaming, no. We'll just follow you up and teach you a lesson. We were in the opposition, some of us. I never insulted Mr. Edgar Chabwaro.
Meanwhile, police spokesperson Ray Hamonga could not respond to the warnings by Mr. Liswaniso by broadcast time as he was attending a meeting. And Mr. Liswaniso has also warned youths in the party not to take matters to the media whenever they are aggrieved, but use the right channel to communicate.
But it will be again a mistake for us as UPND leaders that we rush and go to the media, attack your own political party, your own leaders. I think as a National Youth Chairman, I will become unpopular and to say no to it. I would rather become unpopular as a National Youth Chairman to say no to it. If we have got issues with leaders, we have the Secretary General. He can summon any minister, any PS, and talk to them.
The question that then should be asked is, should freedom of expression entail insulting those in authority, and is beating up those who attack the head of state the right way to handle the matter? Only time will tell. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Former Transport and Communications Minister Mutotwe Kafaya in the Patriotic Front Lunte constituency Member of Parliament has admitted that he contributed to the downfall of the Patriotic Front for failing to end colorism in bus stations. Speaking on the National Matters program on Camnet TV, Mr. Kafaya says that he and his counterpart, former local government minister Charles Banda and former Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo, were tasked by President Edgar Lungu to end colorism, but they failed. Mr. Kafaya asked that officials from his party were in a habit of showing off money to the public who were suffering, adding that such kind of behavior contributed to the fall of his party. More in the following report.
The Patriotic Front Party has since August of 2021 been conducting a post-mortem to understand why they lost the 12th August 2021 general elections. According to the party, the post-mortem has indicated that colorism was one of the major contributors to the Zambian people voting the PF government out of office. Former Transport and Communications Minister Mutotwe Kafaya, who appeared on the Monday edition of National Matters on Camnet TV, has admitted that he contributed to the downfall of the party after failing to follow President Edgar Lungu's directive that cadarism be stopped.
And he said, you young man, you are in charge of the bus drivers who are having to suffer cadarism in bus stops and along the routes. Honorable Charles Banda, who was the Minister of Local Government then, was in charge of the bus stop itself and the markets. And then we had Honorable Stephen Kampiongo, who was in charge of law and order. So he charged us, go and end cadarism. Okay, go and end cadarism. As we began that, somehow we failed to coordinate the activities properly and, execute that presidential directive.
The Lunte constituency member of parliament adds that some party officials became too selfish by flashing money to the public who were suffering, and that such kind of behavior also contributed to the downfall of the party, and says the party is remorseful for its actions and wants the Zambian people to believe in them again. The opposition lawmaker, however, says it has no hatred for any leader in the UPND government, but that it will continue to offer checks and balances to the government to remind them of the promises they made to the Zambian people.
I have no right to hate anyone in UPND, and I hope the UPND, none of the members of UPND would have the right to hate anyone in PF. But because I'm PF, I believe in this political ideology of the Patriotic Front. I have to constantly compare it with the ideology of UPND. That is the only place where we separate. And I think that is the reason for the IO in Parliament, in the National Assembly.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet TV and not just another channel. We'll be back after a break with more news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has denied before the Constitutional Court that its decision to call for fresh nominations in the Kawata by-elections amounts to unjust enrichment and irrational. This is in a matter in which Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP leader Sean Tembo, has petitioned ECZ in the Constitutional Court seeking a declaration that the court stops the Commission from getting fresh nomination fees from candidates for the Kawata parliamentary seat because they already paid. Mr. Tembo states that the decision to subject the candidates to paying the nomination fees twice for the same election defies the democratic principles of fairness and accountability. However, in its response before court, ECZ argues that in line with Article 52, Cap 6 of the Constitution, it is a requirement that after cancellation of an election, it is obliged to hold fresh nominations for eligible candidates. More in the following report.
With only hours remaining for eligible contestants from various political parties to file nominations in the Kawata parliamentary by-elections, the case in which Patriots for Economic Progressive leader Sean Tembo has petitioned the Constitutional Court seeking a declaration that the court stops the Electoral Commission of Zambia from getting fresh nomination fees from candidates continues before court. In the latest submission before court, ECZ denies the allegation by PEP that its decision to make the candidates pay for fresh nomination fees amounts to unjust enrichment and is irrational. It submits that after cancellation of the election, it is obliged to hold fresh nominations for eligible candidates in line with Article 52(6) of the Constitution, and that the holding of fresh nominations requires aspiring candidates to meet requisite conditions for nominations include payment of a nomination fee as prescribed by the Constitution. However, Mr. Tembo in his petition argues that those who already paid the 15,000 kwacha should not be made to pay again because that would disadvantage small political parties like his party, which has limited financial resources. Mr. Tembo wants a declaration that the nomination fees paid by the candidates prior to the cancellation of the Kawata by-elections be deemed valid for the purpose of the fresh nominations that are scheduled for the 19th of January 2022. The ECZ called for a fresh nomination for the election which will be held on 3rd February 2022 in Kawata. The date for the by-election was pushed forward after United Progressive Party candidate Francis Libanda withdrew from the race and resigned from his party.
As the law requires fresh nominations, in this instance, it entails that all aspiring candidates in the Kawata parliamentary by-election, including those that had originally filed in nominations, will be required to pay the prescribed nomination fee. Stakeholders may note that there is an urgent need to review the electoral laws.
As it stands, all the aspiring candidates are expected to meet the requisite requirement as the ruling is being awaited to be delivered by the Constitutional Court. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
6 Ministry of Health officials have been dragged to the Lusaka Magistrate Court for willful failure to comply with applicable law and procedure over the honeybee drug supply scandal. Wilson Lungu, a Chief Purchasing and Supplying Officer, has been jointly charged with Dr. Daniel Makawa, Senior Registrar Surgery, Obet Hachivize, an accountant, Abe Olivingi, a procurement officer, and Boyd Mwanashimbala and Emmanuel Mubanga, both pharmacists, with 2 counts of willful failure to follow applicable law or procedure or guidelines contrary to Section 34, Cap 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012. The accused are expected to appear before court again on the 19th of January 2020 for plea. More in this report.
6 Ministry of Health officials were last month arrested by the Anti-Corruption Commission, SCC, for failing to comply with applicable procedure and regulations relating to the evaluation of a tender in which Honeybee Farmers was awarded a contract to supply 22,500 healthy center kits, made their first appearance before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Tuesday morning. The 6 accused persons are Wilson Lungu, who is a Chief Purchasing and Supplying Officer, Dr. Daniel Makawa, a Senior Registrar, Obeta Tiziba, an Accountant, Abe Olivingi, a Procurement Officer, Boyd Mwanashwala, and Emmanuel Mwanga, both pharmacists. They have been slapped with 2 counts of willful failure to comply with applicable law or procedure or guidelines contrary to Section 34(2)(b) of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012 of the laws of Zambia. In the first count, the 6 are alleged to have, on the 1st of July 2019 and the 31st of December 2019, failed to comply with applicable procedure and regulations relating to the evaluation of a tender number MOH/SP/032/19 for supply and delivery of 22,500 healthy center kits when they participated in both the Evaluation Committee and the Ministerial Procurement Committee, a matter or transaction which concerns Ministry of Health. According to the court charge sheet in the second count, Boyd Mwanashwala is alleged to have on the said date committed the same offense is facing the first count where he has been jointly charged with 5 other officials. The 6 are expected to appear before court tomorrow, the 19th of January 2022 for possible plea. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Sofuko NGO Executive Director Eugene Machona has lamented that it will be impossible for the United Party for National Development to effectively steer empowerment programs without transforming the mindset of the people. Mr. Machona notes that the greatest challenge the country is facing is a poor mindset to development and self-enhancement. He notes the need to curtail the dependence syndrome in order to ensure that people venture into entrepreneurship and contribute to the growth of the local economy. More in this report.
According to the International Labour Organization ILO, it estimates that youth unemployment rate in Zambia from 1999 and 2020 was at 22.63%. Young people, who were the majority voters, are expectant under the United Party for National Development government, given that they campaigned based on the job creation agenda and citizens empowerment, among other themes. The government wants to live up to its assurances by allocating part of the 25.7 million kwacha Constituency Development Fund resources towards empowerment programs. However, Sofuko NGO Executive Director Eugene Machona has lamented that it will be impossible for the United Party for National Development to effectively steer empowerment programs without transforming the mindset of the people. He said this on the sidelines of the Mindset Seminar in Southern Province, Livingstone. Adds that it is against this background that they have embarked on an intervention that complements the government in changing the mindset of the people.
Looking at our approach, the approach of the New Dawn government, we are very impressed with their policies, how attractive their policies are, but the challenge that we are finding is it will be really hard for the New Dawn government to achieve the intended result of this empowerment that they're talking about. The message loud and clear of the New Dawn government encouraging the members of the general public, the communities, to form cooperatives. The message is very loud and clear. But the New Dawn government, they are not investing in changing people's mindset to understand why should we form a cooperative, what are the benefits of forming a cooperative, what is the purpose of a cooperative, how should we manage a cooperative. So this can only be done through such kind of partnership. When government partners with organizations such as Sofuko NGO, you find they'll be able to achieve the intended purpose because they are going to invest our resources, our money in people whose mindset is transformed.
The participants of the seminar also shared their experiences.
Iwe suziva usankale chabe aenda uja mtu kamufunza nanga baye chichanene uchitamba bwanji ndandizeko kuti naine ni ni chitebwani nane ni chiteboga mwamene uchitinga chifukwa niona iwe ulibwina pa wanyamuka wenze pansi kati wanyamuka
Mo mindset, mo stila business na group.
They say the right mindset is what one needs to progress in whatever endeavor. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back, and in international news, the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, is appealing for almost $130 million United States dollars to avoid an impending humanitarian catastrophe in the Horn of Africa. The region is facing its third severe drought in a decade. Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia are the most impacted countries. The lack of rain is aggravated by locust invasions and COVID-19, posing a serious threat to food security in the region. In other news, Kenya's Supreme Court on Tuesday began hearing a controversial constitutional review bill that has been at the heart of politics for several years in the East African countries. For more of international news, here is a roundup.
The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, is appealing for almost $130 million to avoid an impending humanitarian catastrophe in the Horn of Africa. The region is facing its third severe drought in a decade. Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia are the most impacted countries. The lack of rain is aggravated by locust invasions and COVID-19, posing a serious threat to food security in the region. The UN organization has put forward a rapid response and mitigation plan, highlighting a set of activities that should be prioritized from the recent humanitarian response plans. The Food and Agriculture Organization's plan aims to deliver help and save the livelihoods of an estimated 1.5 million people living in rural areas.
Kenya's Supreme Court on Tuesday began hearing a controversial constitutional review bill that has been at the heart of politics for several years in the East African country. Known as the Building Bridges Initiative, BBI, this revision plans to create new positions in the executive like a prime minister, 2 deputy prime ministers, and an opposition leader who also will take part in the government affairs. The bill also plans to increase the number of parliamentarians from the current 290 to 360. According to the outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta, who initiated the bill, this opening up of power will dilute the winner takes it all which he considers to be the cause of post-election conflict in Kenya.
The outgoing IMF country chief for Tunisia said that the economy of the North African state needs deep reforms, such as drastically reducing its vast public wage bill. Approaching the end of his 3-year term, Jérôme Vacher added that the pandemic had created the deepest recession since Tunisia's independence in 1956. The country had pre-existing problems, in particular budget deficits and public debt, which have worsened in recent years. External deficits have also been persistent in previous years, and above all, growth has been weak and largely insufficient. Growth dropped by almost 9% of GDP in 2020. In 2021, it only recovered by 3%. Unemployment remains high, at over 18%. The IMF envoy believes that the country's economy needs deep structural reforms. It's an economy that needs very deep structural reforms, especially to improve the business environment. But it also requires a correction of macroeconomic imbalance, an improvement of the budgetary situation, and a deep reform of public enterprises. Tunisian President Kais Saied sacked the government and suspended parliament in July last year. The government has since asked the IMF for a bailout package.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, former Croatia national team assistant coach Aljoša Asanovic has been appointed Chipolopolo coach on a 4-year deal. Asanovic, who was the Croatian Football Federation's instructor for the diaspora, will take charge of the Chipolopolo alongside first assistant Karol Prazenica and video analyst Stefan Seravic and goalkeeper coach Tonci Gabric and physical trainer Hevo Matijevic of Croatia. Speaking after his official unveiling ceremony in Lusaka, Asanovic said it was an honor to take up the Chipolopolo job and was ready to get down to work immediately. The former Chipolopolo technical advisor's eyes will be on the Total Energies AFCON Ivory Coast 2023 preliminary round draw, which will be conducted on Friday, the 21st of January in Douala. FAS Executive Committee member Jordan Maliti said Asanovic's pedigree as a player and coach gives the association absolute confidence that he will take Zambia national team to the next level. The Croatian will be expected to work closely with local coaches in ensuring that Zambia develops a strong national team comprising both local and foreign-based players. In his heyday, Asanovic donned the iconic jersey 7 for the Croatian national team and starred at the 1996 Euros and 1998 World Cup in France.
How I make the job to be happy? First of all, my team is not excuse not go to next CAF 2023. It's not excuse because I know my players. I know how we are make to be good. Not only there, every game. This is my job, and I know how I make.
To end Camnet TV menus, we take a look at stories making headlines once again. The UPND threatens violence against anyone who will insult President Hakainde Hichilema. DP President Harry KALABA to report President Hakainde Hichilema to the international community. Heavy rains cause devastation in MONZE district. In international news, UN launches appeal to avoid humanitarian crisis in the Horn of Africa. And in sports news, Asanovic gets a 4-year Chipolopolo deal. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day coming from Matthew 28, verse 19 to 20. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe everything I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age. Thank you for watching Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.